The retail media world is wrestling with a fundamental question. Is retail media eating trade marketing, or is trade marketing absorbing retail media? Two industry co-founders offer seemingly opposite perspectives on this topic, and their answers reveal as much about their businesses as the market itself. James Taylor runs Particular Audience, an AI platform that monetizes on-site search and recommendations. So he champions the shift of supplier dollars into measurable RMN formats. Troy Townsend runs Zitcher, a unified front door that catalogs trade and media across on-site, off-site, and in-store, anchored to merchandising. So he argues trade logic should own RMN. Same dollars, different operating systems. Let's start with James Taylor's perspective. He has a front row seat to watch supplier dollars migrate from opaque trade agreements into measurable digital channels. His platform, Particular Audience, powers the AI that turns product searches into ad revenue. So he sees exactly when and why brands reallocate budgets. Industry data backs his thesis. Forrester research shows that 36% of US retail media spend now comes from trade budgets, with another 26% coming from shopper marketing. That's over 60% of RMN revenue flowing from what used to be handshake deals and promotional allowances. Let's listen to James making his case at the DM Exco 2025 event.
Trade budgets in the US alone, just in CPG, are estimated to be about $1 trillion on their own. And there is a extremely tangible amount of that budget that is flowing into retail media, and with really good reason. Retail media is transparent. It is hyper-targeted. The data is there on who's clicking, who's purchasing. It's fully attributable back, and there are, believe it or not, even incrementality measures. In contrast to legacy trade, which is more opaque, more fixed tenancy based, and quite frankly, a lot of brand CFOs, now they've had a taste of retail media, do not want to funnel quite as much money into shopper and trade marketing. So you can see here that you have the portion of trade that's already flown into retail media. So they reckon there's over 50% of retail media revenue today is from historic trade and shopper budgets, probably more. And then there is, of course, net new budget as well. There's incremental spend, there's brand budgets, agency budgets, now increasingly demand-side platform budgets flowing in, and that is going to continue. And the estimate for retail media, which is at $170 billion today, by 2030 will be at $280 billion. So beyond that, is there a path to just fully eating trade? I believe there is.
So James's argument is straightforward. Transparency wins. When CFOs can see attribution versus funding vague co-op agreements, retail media easily captures the budget. Shoppers don't think in silos. They bounce between online and in-store without skipping a beat. Acosta Group's connected commerce agency helps brands unify trade and retail media budgets to invest where shoppers are most likely to convert, whether that's on mobile or in the store aisle. Learn more about Acosta Group connected commerce at acosta.group and let them know Retail Media Breakfast Club sent you. That's ACOSTA.group. Now, Troy Townsend's company, Zitcher, sells the system that turns messy trade inventory into a productized ad business. So his bias, if you will, is that trade logic and merchant ownership should subsume retail media, not the other way around. In an interview on the Middlemen podcast a few months ago, Troy spoke with the hosts of that show, Todd and Tom, about this dynamic. And the hosts made the argument that this isn't retail media eating trade, it's trade eating retail media. Trade dollars aren't going away, they're just modernizing. And what we're really talking about is endemic versus non-endemic spending. The endemic dollars have always been trade, and they're just adopting digital formats now. So a little bit of background on Troy Townsend. Troy actually spent a decade in the Meta advertising ecosystem, helping small businesses scale their Facebook campaigns. And when Meta approached him about their retail collaboration ads product, he saw the bigger opportunity, which is retailers sitting on mountains of ad inventory, both digital and physical, with no unified system to catalog or sell it. So here's Troy describing what that inventory actually looks like and why unifying it matters.
Obviously, a lot of retailers live on thin margins, which is why retail media is so attractive to them. And so how much of that is, do you think, what you guys are doing in terms of working with retailers, in terms of helping them identify and unlocking new inventory?
Yeah, I think even their old inventory, getting a view of what their utilization is, like, it's just really basic stuff.
Let's talk about the old inventory. My favorite, the shelf wobblers.
Yeah, I never thought
What
I'd be
the hell
doing.
is a shelf wobbler? Tom's the retail guy and I'm the ad tech guy.
Yeah.
And so yesterday we learned that the printed coupon sheet at the front of a store is called an Iron Man. And I'm like, okay, I've
I
never
didn't
heard
even know that
before.
one. But the
A shelf
wobblers are my
wobbler,
favorite.
okay.
It's like that flexible piece of plastic, and then the little signage that hangs off it, it wobbles.
The wobbler that
That's
hangs
too
on the
hilarious.
edge of shelf. Yeah. So I never thought I'd be building
It's a
ads.
technical term.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I never thought I'd be building
Functional.
ad tech to deliver shelf wobblers. I think one of the things for us is that visibility for the retailer is really important. Visibility means they actually know what they've sold and what they haven't sold. And we see the trajectory on two paths. And one of the things that having a unified front door gave us the ability to see was, for RMNs to really work, they're going to have their RMN teams that have typically sat within e-com's been the major driver of RMNs. But now as they're starting to unlock the store, they're unlocking the merchant and the relationships that the merchants are having on joint business planning, and being able to see that long-term view. So what's sold in through joint business planning, and then what are the opportunities for the RMN teams to sell up and down and across that inventory as well. We believe that for RMNs to have long-term value, those two things need to work really well together. And there's typically friction that sits in that relationship between the merchandising team and the RMN teams, because it's like, are you selling just a new form of media that I should be selling within my joint business planning? We believe that unlocking that and being able to see that in one spot is where we actually get the value creation of what inventory can be sold. Haven't sold certain things within your joint business planning. How do you then lean on the retail media teams to then sell that inventory? So you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul when I've just got visibility on the bucket of money that I'm selling over here in retail media and you're not seeing in the merchandise structure.
So Troy's point here is pretty practical. Without connecting retail media to the merchant-driven JBPs that still govern supplier relationships, you're just shifting dollars between line items. He then takes it a little bit further, arguing that organizational structure is going to determine whether this convergence succeeds or fails. Here's his view on where retail media needs to live.
I think the big thing that I've found really diving into this space is that this is led by the retail. I think there's a lot of media trying to push into the space, but you cannot take this out of the retailer being the first core part of the second part of media. That's why, in my view of like, where does this live? Typically buying in from the top down is obviously a critical thing for retailers to be successful. My view is long term, I think the merchant teams will own this. I just think it's just a natural thing. It's a core function of retail. And for anything to be a core operating process, it needs to be driven by the core structure of what the retail does. And I think we've got a lot of retailers that it sits outside of that. And I think we're starting to see some larger retailers go, actually, retail media and merchandise needs to be at the table at the same time. But who owns it? My view is that it probably should be living with the merchant.
This isn't just org chart politics, it's about whether retail media becomes strategic infrastructure or remains a revenue sidecar that's disconnected from how retailers actually do business with suppliers. So who's right here? Is trade eating retail media or is retail media eating trade? Both parties are describing the same collision from different vantage points. James Taylor accurately tracks the dollar migration from opaque trade into measurable retail media channels, a shift that his platform enables and benefits from. Troy Townsend correctly identifies that this represents trade marketing modernizing but not disappearing, and his system is built to manage that convergence by cataloging everything from sponsored search to shelf wobblers under one roof. The retailers who win won't waste time debating which function is eating the other. They'll build unified systems that connect retail media to merchant strategy, cataloging every sellable asset and proving value through measurement. The future belongs to those who embrace convergence over turf wars.